Hey everyone, Sirturmund here again, and today we're gonna do some rebuild reactions. So we're in the rebuild season for the last expansion of Legends of Runeterra, and we're getting at least, I think it's 3 new champions that we're getting next week. The expansion is gonna come next Wednesday, and this week they started the reveals, and we already have gotten 2 champions revealed. We got Bets, which you see here on the screen, which got revealed today, and we got Lux, which got revealed yesterday. So I wanted to do kind of just a little reveal reaction for you all instead of the usual gameplay video, because I'm sure a lot of you are excited to see how this champions, what Riot does with this champion, and what we can expect with the game next week. So props, first of all, before I go anywhere else, because I'm going to be using this image here that has all the cards in them, I want to give some props to Friends of Smelly Tapir on Reddit, who was the person who put this all-in-one images together, right? So again, we have the Bets cards, and then we're going to have the Lutz cards later. So let's quickly take a look at the Bets reveal trailer here. Let me put the volume up a little bit here. Oh, this is really high now. Okay. Okay, so Vex is a 4-mana Shadow Isles and Bandle City, just like we expected, right? If this champion was going to be released, we always knew that was going to happen. She has Fearsome, 5/4 stat line. When she attacks, she grants the strongest enemy Gloom. And Gloom is a curse. So think of like Morgana's Shackles or the Suppression from the Demacia. It's a curse that goes into the opponent. So Gloom, this unit has -1 power, -1 health, and it can stack, which is kind of crazy. By the way, doing -1 health is super scary. Then Bets can level up when you have granted Gloom 5 different times. So really 5 different, doesn't have to be 5 different enemies, just have to be 5 different times, right? So obviously her whole package is all about providing this Gloom to the opponents, reducing their stats, and then kind of seeing how it goes from there. So here we go to the trailer, you get some attack, and as you see here, it does the -1 to the Surgeon, and you just push damage through because you're a Fearsome unit, right? So then we're gonna see her level up here shortly, and I just want to skip to the level up because honestly, we can look at the cards more in detail when we go for the all-in-one image. So here we get the level up. That's kind of cute. Ooh, on her level up, she still does the same thing, grants the strongest enemy Gloom, except that now she does it twice. So when an enemy gains Gloom, it gains it again. So pretty much it makes it so that you stack the Gloom. You know, it's kind of very similar to, in a way, it's very similar to Morgana, where you need to attack with Morgana, or, you know, or other champions that you need to attack with them, right, to really get value. So it makes it so that Bets is not always safe, because sometimes you might choose not to attack. But the fact that she has Fearsome probably helps with that, because you're able to kind of reduce the opponent's strongest unit by 1 power and by 1 health. So we get the Vets level up here, and we get some cool other cards here. So again, that's Vets. And actually for me, I stopped playing League before Vets got revealed. So I honestly wasn't really familiar with this champion whatsoever. So Runeterra is really the first time that I'm exposed to Vets and her whole theme. But obviously it's all about, she's a Yoro, and it's all about her kind of being sad, doing all this stuff. So we lose Veigar, which was our Shadow Isles Bandle City Yoro, and instead we get Vets now in his place. So let's actually look at the cards here that were revealed with her package. So we talked about Vets already, and I think Vets actually looks really cool. Again, the Gloom mechanic I think looks amazing. Her stat line is really nice, considering that she has Fearsome. So if the opponent doesn't have a blocker, you're taking 25% of their Nexus. Like, that's 5 damage if she gets to attack because of the Fearsome. And the Gloom lets you be able to get rid of an opponent's Fearsome blocker if they only have like a 3-power unit. So that's really scary. You really don't want these Vets to be able to hit your Nexus too much. So you have to be very careful. Her level up isn't anything crazy. It's not winning you the game, but it's still letting you put a lot of pressure into the opponent. So again, entering really good. Now, Glare is a 2-mana Shadow Isles and Bandle City spell, and it's just grant a unit Gloom to draw 1. That's not bad. So you get to give a Gloom, and you draw 1. It kind of reminds me of the Demacia spell that gives suppression, I think it's like 2 mana as well, right? That it gives one of your units 2 HP and gives the opponent suppression. Even though it's a slow speed, it still saw a lot of play because the suppression just ended up putting a lot of value. So I think this could actually be really good as well. And considering that you can play it in 2 different regions, can be really nice as well. It also grants 2 Gloom if you have the Vets already leveled up, right? So ends up being kind of crazy. Gloom Sprites, Strike, grant me Impact. So 1 mana, Bando City 2/2, Strike, grant me Impact. That's actually, I mean, let me move my camera to the other side real quick. That's not a bad 1-drop, right? You play it on turn 1 if you have the attack token. If the opponent doesn't have a way to defend it, you just push 2 damage and you get impact. So next turn you can actually do more damage again. I think this card is actually a pretty good aggro card. This is very decent. I like it. The next card is a 2 mana grotesque gift. It has Spirit. So real quick before we talk about the card, let me show you what Spirit is, guys. So Spirit, and I have to switch my camera again to the other side. Spirit is a new keyword. This unit has +1/+1, and the keyword can stack. So it's kind of the opposite of Gloom, except that obviously Spirit is not a curse, it's just a keyword. So while Gloom gives people -1/-1, Spirit gives the character, the characters, or the champions that +1/+1. So just letting you know that so you guys know as we talk about evaluate the rest of these cards here. So again, we'll have this Grotesque Gift. So even though he has a 1/1 stat line, he actually comes down as a 2/2 because he has Spirit. The first time an enemy is summoned, granted. Okay, that's huge. I think that's actually so good as well. That it will let you level up your vets really quickly. You just play this, and it's like think of like Rockhopper, right? Think of like Rockhopper. You play Rockhopper so that when the opponent plays a unit, they can get vulnerable on that unit. This kind of is the same way. Of course, it's not vulnerable. It's just Gloom. But the idea is just that you're putting this threat into the opponent of them not being able to actually play. Like they can't really play a unit. They have to think about what unit they don't care about getting Gloom. So that's pretty good. I like this. I like this, right? Actually, you know what? I don't think Gloom is actually a curse. Now that I look at this, Gloom is actually, I think, a keyword. This unit has -1/1. It's just a keyword. Sorry. So it's not even a curse. So the opponent cannot remove it like they can remove a suppression. It's just straight up a keyword. It's just a negative keyword. So it's just like giving someone like, I don't know, if you want to give someone ephemeral, like you can give your opponent ephemeral, right? It doesn't look like it's a curse. It looks like it's just a keyword because it says this keyword can stack. So yeah, so this makes it even more powerful because when you play this, the card that the opponent plays in response to after this is gonna have -1 like forever, right? And it can continue stacking. Wait, that makes Gloom really, really strong. I don't know why. I thought it was a curse. It sounds to me like a curse, right? Because I'm thinking like the way that Morgana puts the shackles when she attacks. That's what I was thinking with Gloom. But it's actually a keyword. So I think, yeah, this is actually kind of crazy. I think both of this card, I think this card especially is really strong. So let's look at the 4-mana spell here. Existential Dread. Okay. I barely know Vets, but I already know one thing. Vets and all her cards are so dramatic. Glare, Existential Dread. Alright, so Existential Dread is a 4-mana Shadow Isle spell. Slow. Grant enemies Gloom. Oh, wow. Wait a second. This grants all enemies Gloom that are on the field? So if the opponent has a wide board, don't you like just turbo level Vets? Vets only requires Gloom 5 times. So if the opponent has like 4 units on the field, you just give everything -1/-1. That's crazy. I think this spell is crazy. Wait a second. Am I overrating just how crazy Gloom is? I think -1 power and -1 health is a lot stronger than people give it credit for. This is actually kind of crazy. Okay, all right. So yeah, that's a nasty spell. So let's move on. 5 mana, Shadow Isles, and Bando City. Shadow, fearsome. When I summon, draw Vets. So we even get a boat. We get a Vets boat right here. We get Shadow. I have +1 for each different time you have granted Gloom this game. So this Shadow is going to grow pretty big as well. I actually don't think Shadow is as strong. The power of Shadow comes from joining your Vets, because I think Vets is actually pretty strong as a champion. But he's not doing a lot. Again, okay, as I say that, with the Gloom, you're going to be really taking your opponent's units to not be able to block Fearsome. So with this Fearsome attack keyword that he has, it could actually be pretty powerful. 5 mana, though, is pretty expensive. So I think Shadow is probably the weakest one of the cards that we have reviewed so far. I think Glare, Dread, and Gift are crazy. I think Vets is also really good. Gloom Sprites is a decent aggro card. Shadow is like a little bit more mediocre. I think maybe you play like 1 or 2 just so that you can use it as a boat, but you're not using it as like as a way to finish the game. Now, next we have a 6 mana Yoro from Shadow Owls, Grim. Also has Fearsome, so that we just talked about with Shadow. The Fearsome actually ends up being really good because you have this Gloom, right? Play, grant a unit for, oh wow, 5/3. The stat lines are not amazing because he has 3 health only. But when you play, you grant a unit for Gloom. That's really good too, no? Again, if for whatever reason you haven't leveled up Vets yet, then that means you're like turbo leveling Vets from this Grim. Like if you haven't leveled her up yet, you just do it with Grim and you're just chilling. Okay, this whole package so far seems actually kind of crazy to me. Let's look at the last 2 cards. Another Yoro, 4 mana, Beefcake Mayor, Impact, Run Star, Boost Me. Okay, so let's go here to talk about what Boost means. Boost is a new vocabulary word. You can increase allies' positive stackable keywords or enemies' negative stackable keywords. So when you boost your own character, right, your own follower, that means that, let's say you have impact on that follower, you're gonna go to impact 2. If you have Gloom on the opponent's enemy and you boost their unit for whatever reason, then you're gonna get them up to Gloom 2. So it's kind of like a way to stack the keyword. So this Mayor has impact, right? And every turn at 1 star, he's gonna boost himself and give himself another stack of impact. So he's gonna increase his own, increase his own impact trigger, right? So he's gonna increase his own impact trigger and gonna continue growing every single time. So it's kind of, yeah, I guess it's kind of just there as an extra damage. I don't think this card is actually anything crazy. 4 mana, 3/4. Yeah, the impact is nice, but we haven't seen these big impact values really push cards over the edge, right? So I don't think it's gonna be crazy. And then the last one is a landmark that says Story, and let's just review what Story does. Story is another vocabulary word, activatable once per round. When activated, play a skill of the current act, then transform to the next act. So what does this mean? If you notice, this landmark is a 2 mana landmark, the Family Reunion. Notice how it has a little 1 here, a little 2 here, and a little 3 here. It's kind of hard to see because my screen is a little bit smaller. But you have like a 1, 2, 3, right? Those are your acts, right? So you have Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Every time, once per round, you can activate your Family Reunion to get the first thing on that act. So if you look at Family Reunion, we have first act, you grant a unit Gloom. Second act, you grant an ally impact. Third act, you boost 2 units. Doesn't say it has to be allies, so you can actually boost the opponent's enemies and give them more Gloom, right? So the idea here is that you just play this Family Reunion, which is a story card, and when you first play it, you right away you can activate this skill and be able to give Gloom to an enemy. And then next round, you can activate it again, be able to give impact to one of your allies. And then the third round after that, you can activate it one more time and be able to give boost to be able to boost 2 units, right? What I don't know, it says activatable once per round, right? So you can activate it on your turn, and you should be able to also activate it on the opponent's attack turn, right? So really, it's just literally 3 turns. So if you play this on turn 2, by the time you get to turn 4, when you have 4 mana, you'll be able to get the 3rd value of the act. I think that's actually really good too. I think that's actually really good too. The 2nd act is kind of worthless. I don't care about impact. But the 1st act and the 3rd act, I think are really, really good with this. Wow. I mean, I'm excited. Vex looks crazy. Her package looks crazy. And you know what's funny? Is that they also reveal Lutz, and Lutz is kind of like the opposite of Vex. So before we move on to Lutz, just I think Vex, out of Lutz and Vex, I really like Vex the most right now. I think this card looks crazy, and I can see a lot of different ways to build her, and the fearsome value can be really good. And the gloom is going to be really annoying for opponents. Not only that, but remember that gloom also does minus health. If you get enough gloom on a unit and you get their health to 0, they just die. So like gloom can also be a pseudo removal tool against the opponent's units, especially something like Grim that can give gloom 4 times to an enemy. Then that means Grim can kind of pretty much kill anything that has 4 health or less right off the bat. So it ends up being a pseudo removal because you remove health, and it also removes their power, meaning that they're not pushing as much pressure into you because they have less power, and it lets your fearsome units, your Vex, your Shadow, or any other fearsome unit that we play in Shadow Isles actually get value and push through. This is so good. This is so good. Wow. I'm excited. Vex has me super excited. But Vex is not the only champion that we got revealed this week. We also have Lutz, right? And just by the way, this Lutz art and this Lutz rework is our first version 2 champion. This Lutz is beautiful. I think this art, Riot outdone themselves, or technically the 3rd party that Riot hires to do the art. They outdone themselves because this Lutz looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, Lutz. Yeah, we got the champion stuff. Let's talk about Lutz. So, there we go. Lutz is a 3 mana. 3 mana Demacia unit. So, obviously, Lutz is going to be Demacia. 3 mana Demacia unit with a 1/2 stat line. She might seem really low static compared to her cost, but she has Spirit. And how we talked about it before, Spirit gives the unit +1/+1, and it can stack. So technically, this Lutz comes down as a 3 mana, 2 power, 3 health unit. Now, Lutz is also all about attacking, just like Vex is. It's said that Lutz is playing more for the support archetype. So when Lutz attacks, she has support. She grants her supported ally Spirit. So whatever you're supporting, you're going to give it a +1/+1. That's going to stay there forever because it's a grant. And she gives herself barrier for this round, which means that you can't just chump block and kill the Lutz. She's going to always give herself barrier anytime that she attacks, and you're going to have like a ping or something to remove that barrier. So she gets barrier, and she gives the other unit +1/+1. And the way that she levels up is that allies have attack with or have gain while attacking 20+ total positive keywords. Wow. So every time that you attack with Lutz, you're bringing this up, right? Because the Spirit counts as a positive keyword. The barrier counts as a positive keyword that you gain while you attack, right? The Spirit that you give to your supported ally also counts. So that's already 3. Every time that Lutz attack is going to be 3. And then whatever positive keywords you get, including the additional stacks of Spirit or any additional attack that you have after that, it's going to continue leveling with your Lutz. So it seems a little bit hard and convoluted to level up Lutz, but it actually shouldn't be as hard as it might seem. Now, the problem is that she does rely on attacking. And the problem with units that need to attack is that sometimes the opponent could have the right blockers to make your attack feel awkward, right? So that is why usually in the history of Runeterra, back row champions tend to be a lot better because you can just leave them in the background and never put them into the threat of the attack. Like think of like a Seer, that's why Seer is so good. Think of like Seraphine. Seraphine is so good because she can just stay in the back. Same thing with Karma. Units that you have to attack with, like even Set, for example, is risky because the opponent could have the way to punish your attack. And that's the weakness with Lutz and with Vets. And it's going to be interesting to see how people navigate that. But this is really cool, right? So she becomes a kind of like an attack champion, as you can see here, right? So she attacks, she gets spirits to this unit, and also gives herself barrier, right? So then we have a little bit of an example here of some of the cards here, some really cool stuff that this Lutz package can do. And here she's gonna attack, and each one of this Spirit 2 counts as 2 towards Lutz level up. So just here, by playing this big body, you have 2, 4, 8, 10 already out of the 20 there to level up Lutz, plus the Spirit that you gave her, plus the Spirit that Lutz has, plus the barrier that she gets herself. So this attack was already like 13. And that's why Lutz levels up here, and we see her level up animation. And it's just like Lutz illuminated, so it's just all the light. Now, when she's leveled up, she still has the same attack. I grab my supporter ally spirit and give me barrier, but she also gives the spirit twice. So when I say it's literally the opposite of Vets, this is what I mean. It's literally the same thing. Like, look at Vets, level up, and look at Lutz, level up. One is Spirit, one is Gloom. When an ally gains Spirit, it gains Spirit again. And if you look at Vets, when an enemy gains Gloom, it gains it again. So pretty much both champions are kind of doing the opposite. One is just buffing up your board. The other one is reducing the opponent's board as much as they can. I think Vets ends up being stronger because I feel like the Gloom, again, the fact that the Gloom can be like a pseudo removal if you get an opponent's unit to 0 is so much better. And getting the opponent's power down also helps you chump block and do a lot more stuff than what Lutz can do. Like, yeah, Lutz can make some of these units ridiculous big, but they can be chump block, right? But still, Lutz by herself ends up being really, really cool as well because you're just gonna stack this spirit keyword so much and just get so much value because now look, see, now we got spirit twice there, so it goes to spirit 3 and you just get so much value. And then you probably have all the spells just like how we saw with Vets that can give spirit to the unit, and everything just gets spirit twice every time that you do that. So let's look at the package so that we can actually evaluate this and Lutz, right? So we talk about Lutz, which is over here. And I do think Lutz is actually strong, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I think Lutz is very strong. His spirit keyword looks very cool. And the fact that she gives herself barrier is very nice, right? I do think her package might need to be better to actually make her the way that she's intended to be played with spirit. It might just be that we play her like in regular Demacia decks where you can just keep making your units bigger and bigger. Regardless, let's kind of take a look and see what this does here, right? So, the first one here is a 5-mana follower, Aberrant Mage Seeker. He has Challenger. When on summon, grant other allies spirit. So this is a 5-mana 2/3, and you're granting all your other allies, not himself, all other allies spirit. Think of this as a Bannerman. You know how we have Elite and we play Bannerman until 4 and give all elites +1/+1? That's what you're doing here. This is giving all your units +1/+1. This is actually decently strong. This is decently strong in decks that just want to go wide and just have a lot of these Demacia units on the field, right? I think you're able to kind of get a lot of value from that by having this Mage Seeker come down and buff your whole board up. And if you have Lutz already leveled up, then your spirit happens twice. So you're literally giving everything +2/+2, which is huge. So I like this card, not busted, but also not weak. Then we have the Dreamlight Alina. And it's an 8-mana follower that has spirit. So it comes as I guess it comes down as a 2/2. When I'm summoned, you summon 5 Spiritlings. So those are those little blue things that we saw in the video. For each one that you don't have space for, you grant the weakest ally 2 spirit instead. So no matter what, even if you play this with no board space, you're getting value from this. You're literally getting 10 spirit from this if you literally play this on a full board. If you don't play it on a full board, then you're gonna just get a full board no matter what. And one of your units is gonna get pretty big. So this unit is interesting. It is very expensive as an 8 mana, which might make it so that it's not as strong as I'm thinking it is. But the fact that you're just getting a full board to block with and you're giving everything spirit can actually be really freaking crazy and can potentially swing the tide of battle depending on who you're going against. So yeah. Then we have Jarrow Lightfeather, aka the new Ezreal in Standard. If you guys don't know, this is Ezreal under a different name, right? It's a 1 mana spirit. Play, grant an ally in your hand spirit. Now, notice how he has a 0/0 stat line, but because he has spirit, he comes down as a 1/1. It does mean that if someone gives the gloom, then he goes back down to 0 and he's just going to die, or it can be very pingable. But it doesn't matter because the whole idea with Jarrow Lightfeather is that you're able to give one of your units spirit in your hand. So, for example, you can play this, put it on the Lutz, and now your Lutz is going to have spirit too, so that when she comes down, she's going to come down as a 3 mana, 3/4 unit. That's going to be really hard for the opponent to deal with. So I think this card is going to be a staple in Lutz decks just because it's able to let you buff one of your units. It can also be a staple in a lot of other Demacia decks because, again, that spirit can be really crazy. Buffing stuff in your hand can always be very scary. Then we have a 2 mana follower here, Luminous Sprite. It's kind of weird. It doesn't seem like a follower. Maybe I need to look at the full art of this. This is a support card. Support, give my supported ally all of my positive keywords and their stacks this round. So if this Luminous Sprite has like spirit, for example, then whatever unit you support is also going to get all positive keywords, including spirit and everything else, right? Including all the stacks and everything else. Yeah, this is not bad, right? It's another support unit. So we kind of seeing how this archetype is shaping out. It's kind of like more like a support archetype where you get to attack. So think of like Lulu and Shen, etc. So that's pretty decent, right? Then we have a 3 mana fast speed spell here. Okay, this is actually Lutz. This is actually Lutz's spell, right? So this is her spell. Obviously, it means that we also have a main deckable version of it. Since it's Lutz's spell, it's not a Runeterra champion. But Lutz Incandescence is a fast speed spell. You boost all units. And again, when we're talking about boost, you increase your positive stackable keywords. And spirit counts as a stackable keyword, which means that this is going to pretty much give you spirit too on all your units if you have spirit on them. But it can also be used if you have impact, for example. And yeah, so that's decent. So it's a 3 mana, give everything +1/+1 that has spirit. I think it could be decent. And if you have Lutz in the field, then this becomes a +2/+2. So it's kind of the same thing as the Mage Seeker, but on a spell instead of on a unit. I think that's actually decent as well. Again, this archetype of just having all these big buffy units can actually get a lot of places, and I really like it because of that. It's nothing crazy to think about though. And then the next one is a 5 mana slow speed spell, Smoldering Smirk, boost 2 allies. So again, you can give them spirit, right? So you can give them spirit, you boost them up, then they strike an enemy one after the other. So this is like a slow speed Concerted Strike that it trades the fast speed of Concerted Strike to instead have the boost. So you're able to boost 2 allies and you're able to have strike, and you're able to strike the 2 enemies, right? So that's not bad either. Slow speed kind of makes it awkward though. 5 mana slow speed kind of makes it really awkward. I actually don't know that I see this card being playable. I mean, we have Fiora back in Standard, right? So maybe Fiora could take advantage of this. It seems really tough, though. It seems really tough to kind of make this mask, the Smirk, Smoldering Smirk, to make the Smirk actually work. So, not as high on this card as compared to the other cards that we have seen before. And then we'll go here for the last 2 cards. The first one is going to be a Demacia Ionia Spirit Links. So that's what gets summoned here by the Alina, by the way. So the Spirit Links are 1 mana, 0/0 with double spirit. So they're technically 1 mana, 2/2s. And again, that's really good. 1 mana's 2/2s are pretty good, especially because this one has spirit twice, which means that you can continue stacking the spirit and you can actually get yourself to level up Lutz even quicker. That's a solid auto include in a lot of this Ionia, Demacia, more low to the ground type of decks that you might run into. And then the last one is 3 spirits. It's a Bando City and Demacia card. It has spirit, so it's technically a 4 mana 3/3. And when you play, you boost all of the units, right? So is this just the same thing as it's like existential dread but on a stick, right? Where you're boosting all your allies. Existential dread is glooming all of your opponent's stuff. So you're able to just kind of boost all your other units. So again, kind of like how we talked about with the Mage Seeker, this could be like another Bannerman. If your unit all has spirit, then you can do this and give everything another stack of spirit. So it ends up being really, really good. It doesn't buff itself though, which is one thing that Riot needs to be careful of. So that's the whole package. Those are the keywords again that we talked about. I'm really excited. Honestly, I was a little bit sad at first. When I saw Lutz was a attack-based champion and not a spell slinger. Because we lost a lot of spell slingers, right? Not that are going to Eternal. Like, again, Seraphine got rotated, Karma got rotated, Heimerdinger, Nami, right? We don't have any spell slingers in Standard. So I was expecting Lutz to be filling up that gap, but she doesn't fill it up. And even though I'm sad that she's not a spell slinger, because, you know, that's the whole Lutz archetype, the mechanic here and the mechanic and the art and how Lutz looks has me really excited. Like, I'm okay with it not being a spell-based champion because, honestly, this whole spirit and this whole gloom mechanic, they're literally complete opposite of each other, and they both look so freaking cool. And all of the Lutz arts look so freaking cool. So, I'm excited, right? I'm excited. That's all I can say. I'm more excited for Vex, though. I do think Gloom is going to be crazy. Now, I do think Lutz has more powerful support that's already in the game. Like, when I look at Lutz, I'm thinking, hey, you know what just got rotated back to Standard? Taric. Golden Ages. You can literally just play Lutz and Taric. Or, you know what else got rotated to Standard? Lulu. So we can play Lutz and Lulu and have this support archetype, right? Or we can play Lutz and Taric and have this archetype that's just gonna go really big and then try to rally. And even if you rally without Taric on the field, if you have Lutz, you're still getting value, and it potentially lets you level up the Lutz quicker, right? So you have these Golden Ages that's really good with Lutz and Taric. You could have this Lulu, which can also be really good because she gets to level up really quickly because of all the support units that you have. So I think Lutz kind of seems easier to fit into what's already in the game, into what we already know that's in the game. While Vex on a vacuum is stronger, I think she's going to take a little bit more fiddling to actually make Vex work. I think you pretty much play all her cards in her package for the most part. Again, probably don't play the Mayor. Probably the Groom Sprite is not necessary either. And the Shadow maybe not as much. But everything else seemed very solid that you can just auto-include into her deck and just have like this Vex package, add a few more fearsome cards there, see what you can find and kind of go from there. But this looks very solid on a vacuum. I just have to think a little bit more of what champions to pair with Vex to really make her shine. Lutz, I think, is really easy. I think Lutz is really easy to make work. Heck, you can even put her in Scouts. I know Quinn got rotated, but honestly, Lutz's Misfortune could still be good as well. Like, she has so many different archetypes that you could put her into because the fact that she's Demacia and that she's doing something basic that benefits so many current decks out there. Gloom and Vex are a little bit harder to make work, but they could definitely get there. But yeah, I mean, man, I'm super excited. This was really fun. I'm really excited. I think both these champions look really fun. Let's see what a third champion is going to be later this week. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for me. I hope that you enjoyed my review reactions to these two champions. If you did, make sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post card game videos every single day. You can also join our channel and become a member. We have 2 tiers, Gladiators and Champions, each one with different perks. Check that out in the description below. On the join button is the subscription button. You can also find us on Twitch at Sirturmund, we're streaming now and then. And you can also find us on Discord and Twitter. The links to those are both in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.